Like, subscribe, and hype the video. Also, leave a comment on any topics you want to hear about in the future. Okay, let's dive in. In our last episode, we walked through the real documented history of Area 51, a Cold War-era facility built to test classified spy planes. Responsible for a huge share of early UFO sightings, simply because the aircraft being tested were secret and kept under near-total government silence for almost 60 years. But that's not the story most people actually associate with this place. Today, we're getting into the alien conspiracy theories themselves, the claims about a crashed UFO recovered nearby, the man who says he personally worked on reverse engineering alien spacecraft, and what the actual evidence says about each of these claims. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why Area 51 became the single most famous alleged alien cover-up location on the entire planet. To understand the Area 51 alien mythology, you actually have to start somewhere else entirely, Roswell, New Mexico, in 1947, where a rancher discovered unusual debris on his property, and the local Army airfield briefly issued a press release stating they had recovered a flying disc. The Army quickly retracted that statement, clarifying the debris was actually from a classified high-altitude surveillance balloon, part of a secret program called Project Mogul, designed to detect Soviet nuclear weapons tests. That retraction, combined with the original dramatic headline and the genuinely classified nature of Project Mogul, created decades of suspicion that the government was hiding something bigger than a weather or surveillance balloon. Over time, as conspiracy theories about Roswell grew, some versions of the story began claiming that any recovered alien wreckage or bodies weren't kept in New Mexico at all, but were secretly transported to a remote, highly classified facility for study, and Area 51, already infamous for its secrecy by the time these specific claims gained traction in the 1980s and 90s, became the most commonly named destination in this version of the story. It's worth noting Area 51 wasn't even established until 1955, 8 years after the Roswell incident occurred, which creates a real timeline problem for the most literal versions of this particular connection. Like, subscribe, and hype the video, and let's get into the single most famous individual claim connected to this entire mythology. In 1989, a man named Bob Lazar appeared on local Las Vegas television and made an extraordinary claim. He stated that he had worked as a physicist at a secret facility called S4, allegedly located near Area 51, where the United States government was reverse engineering recovered alien spacecraft, and that he had personally studied the propulsion systems of these vehicles. Lazar's claims were remarkably specific. He described the alleged spacecraft's propulsion system as using a stable, super-heavy element with an atomic number of 115, claiming it could manipulate gravity itself to enable the kind of flight characteristics witnessed in UFO sightings, characteristics like sudden direction changes and extreme speeds that would be physically impossible for any aircraft using conventional propulsion. Here's where things get genuinely complicated for fact-checking this claim. Investigators were never able to verify Lazar's stated educational background, finding no confirmed records of him attending MIT or Caltech as he claimed, and no employment records connecting him to Los Alamos National Laboratory, where he also claimed to have worked. Lazar has maintained for decades that any record of his employment and education was deliberately scrubbed by the government as part of the broader cover-up, while skeptics argue the simpler explanation is that these credentials were never genuine in the first place. In an interesting and admittedly strange side note, an element with atomic number 115, called moscovium, was in fact later synthesized by scientists in 2003. Well after Lazar's original claims, though the real lab-created version is an extremely unstable radioactive element that exists for only a tiny fraction of a second before decaying, nothing close to the stable exotic fuel source Lazar originally described. A related set of claims, often connected to both the Roswell story and to Area 51 directly, alleges that the government has recovered actual alien remains, and that these remains have been studied, preserved, or even kept alive at secret facilities ever since. These specific claims have never been supported by any verified physical evidence, photographs confirmed as authentic by independent forensic analysis, or testimony that has held up to documented background and credibility checks. Several alleged photographs and videos purporting to show recovered alien bodies over the decades have, after independent investigation, been traced back to either deliberate hoaxes, misidentified human remains used in unrelated military medical research, or in at least one widely publicized case from the 1990s, footage later admitted by its own creators to have been an elaborate, paid special effects production using a fabricated model. This pattern, recurring claims followed by debunked or unverifiable evidence, is one of the most consistent features across the entire alien recovery mythology connected to Area 51, even as the broader rumors themselves have persisted in popular culture for decades. Like, subscribe, and hype the video, and let's talk about why, despite all of this, so many people still genuinely believe something is being hidden out there. Here's an important, fair point to make. The fact that specific claims like Bob Lazar's haven't been independently verified doesn't necessarily mean every detail is automatically false. And skepticism toward unverified government secrecy is a reasonable instinct, especially given Area 51's genuinely real, documented 60-year history of total silence and selective declassification. The government's own confirmed activities at this exact location, classified spy planes, a secretly tested captured Soviet fighter jet, decades of flatly refusing to even acknowledge the base existed, demonstrate that the government absolutely is capable of maintaining extraordinarily tight secrecy around real, mundane military technology for extended periods of time. That confirmed pattern of real secrecy makes it easy to understand why people extend the same suspicion toward more extraordinary claims, even without direct supporting evidence for those specific claims. The difference, though, is that the documented Cold War secrecy was eventually verified through real declassified evidence, official government acknowledgement, and corroborating historical records. The alien recovery and reverse engineering claims have had decades to produce that same kind of independently verifiable evidence, and so far, they haven't. So here's where the evidence actually lands. Area 51's foundational secrecy was completely real, extensively documented, and eventually confirmed through official government declassification, exactly the kind of paper trail you'd expect from genuine historical events. The alien recovery, reverse engineering, and Bob Lazar claims, despite circulating for decades and inspiring countless books, documentaries, and even Hollywood films, have never produced that same kind of independently verifiable evidence trail. That doesn't necessarily mean nothing unusual has ever happened at Area 51 beyond what's been declassified. Genuinely classified military programs likely continue there today, simply because that's the facility's confirmed, ongoing purpose. But the government tests secret military technology there, and the government is hiding recovered alien spacecraft and bodies there, are two very different claims, and only one of them currently has solid, verifiable historical evidence behind it. So that's Area 51, a real, historically significant Cold War testing site, responsible for genuine breakthroughs in classified aircraft technology, wrapped in nearly 60 years of total government silence that created the perfect environment for one of the most enduring conspiracy theories in modern history to take root and grow. Whether you believe there's something more out there in that desert, or whether you think it's simply the most secretive military base in American history doing exactly what classified military bases are designed to do, one thing is certain: the real story is stranger and more historically significant than most people realize either way. If you've made it through both episodes, let me know in the comments whether you think Area 51 is hiding more than classified aircraft. Like, subscribe, and hype the video, and I'll see you in the next one.